Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha Yathagnir-dahika shakti Ramakrishne sthita hiya Sarva vidya swarupam tam Sharadam pranamamyaham Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Namaste to you all. We have been trying to enter into the ancient times, the historical background of ancient civilizations. We went through a little of the time limits, time divisions, the classification of time in the historical background. There are various time scales, geological time scale, cosmic time scale of appearance of the earth and all that, billions and billions of light years, and smallest micro, nano, smallest in Planck physics. And we are concerned with the history, the historical references, how civilizations come up and go, disappear. But the earlier records we don't have, and the whole thing is designed and mapped by the Westerners, which limits to their region, more or less. Eastern is not brought into picture. When the histories were written or the classifications were done, very little of the Indus, India, and most important part in the world, history, if we correctly see, it is Indian continent, which is completely eliminated, and it needs, if anyone, any historian studies detail the Indian history, then the whole historical classification and everything has to be redone to that extent. So the earliest writing of a history as history, we see the history that is recorded was first Herodotus, a Greek person by nationality, and his account of war between Greeks and Persians is the first writing as history. From there the history writing begins. It is just a narration of his time, trying to bring it into the light, and that becomes the first writing of the history. And we see, of course, earlier to that, 23, or what we studied in the last time, the Paleolithic stage of 2.3 million years old to 10,000 BC. The whole period we see the Stone Age, the cave paintings, very old, millions of years old, the cave painting. They are trying to, through that cave painting, they are trying to keep the record of the history. They want to present the knowledge to the people and how things are there now. The ancient things are these are the records, pictorial records of the things. And then it was an offering to the nature, a thanksgiving as if to the nature, and to expand the knowledge to others who come and go and see. So those things, if we see, The history records which we infer belongs to those times, and later on we see Chinhose in China recording the symbol recordings of those places. That is about 6600 BC, means about 9,000 years back. And then we have Winhua science recordings are there, which about 5,000 means about 7,500 years back. These were the historical, not willfully written, but left behind. From there we come to the Indus Valley scripts. Is actually script writing. These people have marked it as Indus Valley 3500 BC, that's about 5,000 years back or 6,000 years back. So these things are, here we see the conscience of history being kept in record for the others to know. But actual writing was done later on by Herodotus, a Greek person. So from that we see later on the systematic classification as Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. This differentiation was made by Thomson in 1816 to 1825. Just 19th century. Thereafter we have these classification, historical classifications that has been taken as standard, and that is how we are moving now. But it is just an assumption of the whole thing, but recorded and found history is after almost 500 BC onwards. That division is different. The prehistoric we have gone through in the last class from 2.5 million years to 11,000 BC, the first part of the Stone Age, where we call it Paleolithic stage. From there we see the human beings are exposing themselves to nature. They are observing the nature and trying to enter the various quarters of nature. Paleolithic stage. Then comes the Mesolithic stage of time. That is about from 11,000 to 8,000 BC. In that period, 11,000 to 8,000 BC, we see a transformation towards agriculture and art. Of course, music is said to have existed even before the language could come into practice. I have sent a detailed notes on this already. So here we see music, arts, and the technological developments begin in a very strong way. This period means the Stone Age, in Paleolithic, you see the main things. The whole classification of prehistory belongs to the technological developments by finding what instruments they were using. Before that, human existence remained much earlier than that. The historical classification that man was like this was for about 2.3 or 2.5 million years back, but it is being pushed back to 3.3 million years back. The human means he has understood the nature. He is interacting with nature, not like animals and all. As nature keeps, we are not that way, but consciously he has become. That means he is using some instruments, axes made up of stone, some cutting, crushing, instruments and all that. Then we see agriculture entering during Mesolithic age. Then comes the 8,000 to 4,000 years back, BC, not back. 8,000 to means we have to add 2,500 years of the present if you want to take it in number of years back. Otherwise, it is about 8,000 to 4,000 years back, Neolithic stage of development. That is the latest, very close to us. And we see here the domestication of animals and agriculture taking to little more forward and permanent settlements coming up. Man is becoming very close to what we are now. That is Neolithic, but still it is Neolithic. The stone is predominant. Though leather, this, that, whatever is naturally available, wood also, wooden handles, this, that, sticks, all these things, and bones were also used in these periods. But later on, the Bronze period. The copper, bronze, iron age, we differentiate for 4,000 to 600 BC. 4,000 to 2,500 BC, the immediately of Neolithic age, the bronze comes into picture. Copper, we can say copper, then bronze. The copper age, we see 4,000 to 2,500 years. That period, BC, that period, the slowly metallurgy has come into picture. Crushing of ores, taking away the metal, using the metal, and mostly for agricultural purposes and warfare to make their war instruments and vessels for cooking and all that we see coming into this Bronze period. Mainly it was exclusively used for, highly used for warfare, killing and all that. Of course, the period always, wherever you find human, it begins and ends with war. So it was not lacking. Then 2,500 to 1,200 BC, we see Bronze Age coming. From Copper Age to Bronze Age. Bronze Age, it is almost all vessels, this, that, many of the things, including fishing equipments, small boats and all, being utilized in various ways. And 1,200 to the present age, we see. But Iron Age we call that, but Iron Age limits itself as far as the historical, this one goes on, classification goes on, from 1,200 to 600 BC. This is Iron Age, which brings about tremendous technological transformation. Various things, huge ships, steamers, railway, all this enter immediately after this period. So this is an important transformation that is, its base is put in the last part of the Iron Age. Copper Age 4,000 to 2,500, 2,500 to 1,200, Bronze Age, and from 1,200 to 600, the Iron Age. After that, the modern times come. Now, recorded history. From 6,600 BC onwards, we have the recorded history. Before that is prehistory. In the recorded history, we have ancient times, then the Middle Ages, early modern era, and modern era. 4 divisions have been made. 600 BC to 476 AD. These are all Western classification according to the social conditions. And nothing actually has to do with the history of the world or history of the geological importance. But it is when the language came into picture for writing and all that, specifically, there we see from 600 BC to 476. Why this 476 it is the time when the Roman Empire collapses, tremendous transformation takes place. So this we call the earliest period. This we will just discuss in the next class in detail. This is the Western glory or something like that. Though it doesn't contain the Eastern and especially the India's in this one, it is said to be the glory of the Greece, glory that Greece was, and the grandeur of Romans. This is what that period is called. It is called classical antiquity. Classical antiquity, it's a beautiful, this one, it had tremendous impact on the whole of the European regions. The science, philosophy, government, architecture, all this came to its highest peak as if in those regions. When we compare it to India and this one, it is still the very early stages of human existence. But at that time, India was in its glory, highest glory of spiritual, entering into the transcendental realm beyond the nature. Anyway, that part we'll discuss later on. But here we see the antiquity, the Greece and Roman, Greece philosophy and all that, Romans and Roman Empire, huge empire was there. And this 476 AD, the Roman Empire collapses. After the collapse of Roman Empire, there will be Dark Ages. Dark Ages means it is very difficult to understand. We will have a picture of this in the next class. Just I am giving how the divisions is being done, how the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages we see a tremendous commotion in the various fields and lakhs of millions and millions of people dying in warfare and in diseases and all that. Not small amount when we say 100, 200 million people died in Black Plague of dark times, wars, crusades and all that. Then we can see what is the dark period of time was and how that glorious time suddenly falls to the and human existence, how that the main historians give a important clue here. The dark periods came into existence only because there was no cultural development. See how we have discussed in detail the culture and civilization. What is the difference? Civilization is how will I live in this world utilizing the resources of the world. Culture is how I will be happy, how I make others happy, how I will be joyful, how will I evade or get rid of suffering and this one. So these art, science, technology, these are technology and science, major part comes to the civilization part. But art, play, music, all this, spirituality, religion, all this come under the culture. Cultural development ceased with the fall of the Roman Empire. The trend in which they were going, highest philosophy of the Greece people, and then Roman Empire. When these three, that was a trend going on. When it collapsed, the people went dark, and they did not, because feudalism came into existence. The most important political system of those days were that. And when this comes into picture, the growth of human to live in his own freedom and develop ceases. Feudalism is where some rich people give others an opportunity to serve them and keep them under them as servants, and whatever they need, basic needs are provided, but they are under them. Like that, the whole country was under that feudalistic trend. So the growth was not there, and historians refer to it beautifully as the lack of the cessation of the cultural development that was going on, and they could not take forward. How much important, now we are advancing so much in science and technology, we have totally forgotten what is our status, what would be our status if we leave our Samskriti culture. Each region has its own ancient culture flowing, and each region, each race has to preserve that culture of theirs. That culture is what makes man divine, or at least keeps man as man. The moment the cultural drop comes, we see man climbing down to the lowest rung of animalhood. So this cultural breakdown, and they could not get up again. That was a dark period, till again the industrial revolution, this one comes up slowly. Then we see the Middle Ages entering into early modern age. In early modern age, 1450 to 1750 almost, 1400 to 1700 we may say. That was the early modern period which faced so many transformations. Slowly man gaining some strength to stand up and say, I am a human, I have the choice to do, I am taking up the responsibility, the society, individual, the nation. Oh, I have to survive now. I can, and I have to manage myself. I can. That self-confidence, slowly the whole thing had collapsed. And slowly the human existence started taking up its roots again, and then slowly flourishing in the world, gaining individual. And after that, in 1700 to the present, we see tremendous, huge transformations. And this period, we see the main part, the railway coming into picture. Before that, in the early modern times, we see printing press and all these things coming up. And in the last modern stage, that is after 1750 to the present, it is still we divide it there into the latest after 1900 almost, 1920s, 1930s, till the Second World War began. There is the transition period where there was still peace and growth was picking up. With railway, communication, transportation, steam engines, steamships, all this come into picture. And it was a very nice period where the transformation is going on. Now, of course, we are in the latest modern times where we see the computer things have come up, taking a new shape, giving a new shape to the world. We do not know its consequences yet. We have to wait and see how far we are going, how we will slip down, or what is going to happen. Will it transform man into God or not? Will it make man manifest his divinity or not? We do not know. If animalhood is going to increase, then there will be a steep fall again of the whole human existence. So this we see cyclically going on from Stone Age to the highly evolved, and again Stone Age coming. We are taking the prehistory, but before that, even from the prehistory, about 3.3 million years before onwards, we see till now how many civilizations might have come up and gone, we do not know. Before that, before the Stone Age began, how many civilizations came to the highest peak like present and disappeared. The dramatic part the nature plays, behind nature there is, we are thinking of artificial intelligence. Behind nature there is the nature's intelligence. The cosmic intelligence is working all the time. The man has been induced with the artificial intelligence. We do not know what is the plan of nature to destroy him or to make him up to divine. We do not know. If we do not raise ourselves to the divine, then we will be doing a great harm to ourselves. So this cycle keeps on moving. Stone Age to highly evolved. Again, Stone Age begins. Just like a tree becomes seed and tree dies for the seed to grow up again. So human existence continues, but with millions and millions of civilizations coming up and going. That's what we see in the presently, and we will see in the next class again. We will meet and discuss these points a little, just for our knowledge, that we are not going without knowledge or eliminating or avoiding any information that is with us now presently. But the entire study, exclusively how the spiritual evolution of man, the knowledge, wisdom, when we say, it is which makes man eternally free. The freedom of the soul forever, that is what is counting. So how that part was going hand in hand with the physical developments and the other secular developments, that part we have to bring out. All right, for today we will have this one. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhritavigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidhyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha.